Hello, I am Drillion and I'm going to teach you how to program in Python as an outsider. Are you an outsider? Then good. I'm an outsider as well. I actually am a dentist and I picked up programming during the quarantine. If you are an architect or some kind of engineer or a nobody, it doesn't matter at all. Anyone can do this, anyone can program. The most important things to keep in mind is that practice is the number one thing, the key thing for programming. There are different activities that require different things. For example, when you check out copywriting or translating, it doesn't require that much of practice when you compare it with the other two activities that I wrote here, ping pong and baseball, because you can translate if you just know the languages. It doesn't mean that you had to translate a lot of stuff before in order to get a line or two translated. Same with copywriting. You can be good at copywriting while you've been consuming a lot of content that is related to this, and then you get a pattern in your mind how to write content that is intended for copywriting. When it comes to ping pong and baseball, I can write you a whole book on how to hold the paddle in ping pong and how to hit the ball, what is the inclination that should be of the paddle uh, rele- uh, relevant to the ball, and so on and so forth. But you won't be able to do it as well as I do without practicing first. So it's a thing that needs to be learned hands-on. Same goes with baseball and other sports like this. The other thing that you should remember is that computers are very dumb. The computers need a very detailed description of step-by-step actions that you need to do in order to complete the task you wanted from it. So there needs no space to be left for interpretation because otherwise they will mess it up. And this I will illustrate through a jug of milk and a glass. Let's pretend that this glass is empty. Couldn't find a better picture on the internet. So how would you tell a robot to fill the glass? Just fill the glass? The robot might misinterpret things and just mess it up. The proper description would be uh, get a hold of the jug, lift it up, and start tilting it with the opening just over the glass until the milk starts pouring into the glass. When the glass is halfway or whatever filled, then stop and return it to the prior position. So that would be a detailed description of how to do this, and I'm sure that I missed some steps in between, but that's something that we are going to learn in the next slide. So what if I missed something in that description? Let's say that because of that, the milk jug is just all over the floor and nothing has been done. But in this case, it just means that my instructions weren't good enough. Is that so bad? In the terms of programming, it's not so bad because there are no real consequences. You just see that the code isn't working, but in the real life, you would have to do all the work of cleaning up. The thing with this is that over time, you get a better grip on how to give these instructions to the computer, and the computer will start to abide your will because you're going to give it a better instructions. Another thing that needs to be talked about is about this thing. What did the Adam do when God created him? He started naming things, and that's the first thing that you will do also in programming. You are going to create things, but you create them by naming them. So let's pretend that you build a robot and the robot can square numbers. What do you name it? So I suppose it would be a squaring numbers robot. So this is good but in terms of programming, it's a little bit long-winded and complicated. So we would go like this: number square. It's tiny in size compared to that one. And the one thing that we did miss is that in that description that we had prior, there were spaces between the words. And in Python, you cannot name anything with a space. We signify the spaces with a underline. So that's something that we will go over in the next videos. But this is just a overview and introduction of everything that's happened. That's going to happen, and you'll see with the time. So we got our robot, a number squarer, and we got number here. So what do we do with the number? Can we give it to the robot like this? No. So in programming, just as in the real world, everything needs to be named. We know that this is 42, but in the terms of Python, we need to give it a name. So we would call it number to calculate, for example. So this is the number to calculate. We give it to the number squarer, and the number squarer gives us a result back. So everything has its name, even the person who does the task, the robot who does the tasks, but also the objects that are manipulated. So in this case, it was this number, that 42, that is squared. Good. So with these three things, two or three things that I explained, you've got the basics laid out in order to start Python. So the most important things were practice. Practice makes perfect. You need to test the world to see how things are working, how things are not working, and what is making them fail, and how to write detailed instructions. So all of this is included in practice, and it gets better and better with the time, and of course you'll be surprising yourself by the end of it. And the second thing that I talked about was that computers are dumb. Detailed instructions make a good programmer. And the third thing, that you need to name things adequately. So these are I'm just going over them really fast. This is just an introduction. And you won't have to worry about it so much, because we'll start from scratch again. But these are the groundwork for starting in programming. So now we've created our little garden of Eden, and now we will be in the videos to come, we will be manipulating this garden to shape it to our will and however we want to see it. So we see us in the next videos. We'll start with the basics, what are variables and things like that. It sounds so complicated. Don't worry about it. I'll just get into the details in the coming videos, and don't get yourself hung up onto the itty-gritty details. It doesn't really matter. I know the words are thrown around as if they are some rocket science or something, but we will try to keep the vocabulary as easy and understandable as possible. Me too, I am a person that doesn't really like difficult terminology. I'm a simple mind, and that's why I will just impart my way of understanding things when it comes to programming. I know there are a lot of videos, but maybe someone thinks much more like me, and maybe you will find it useful. So see us on the coming videos. Bye.